The 2025 Met Gala was arguably the most paid attention to Met Gala of the last 5 years. And historically, I'm typically not a devoted Met Gala watchee, but this year I couldn't help but keep my eyes glued to my laptop in anticipation for how each pop culture figure decided to interpret this year's theme. Superfine tailoring black style is a genre of fashion that I resonate with very intensely. And I thought it would be fun to highlight some of the best and worst looks from this year's Met Gala. Just to be clear, nearly everyone at the event looked stunning, and I would never want to diminish the work of hundreds, if not thousands of people who have planned, sewn, and executed these outfits. The nature of this video is to, in earnest, scrutinize these looks based on how on theme they were, the creativity, and the presence they brought to the gala. My opinions are a reflection of the outfits, not the people, not the stories, not the inspiration. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Drew. What it do? It's nice to meet you. Let's talk the 2025 Met Gala. There were over 300 looks from the evening. Let's start with the 10 that I thought were the worst. If at any time you agree or disagree with my commentary, let your voice be heard down in the comments. One of the worst looks of the entire evening was worn by Amelia Gray. And I'm sorry, Amelia, I'm a big fan of yours. I met you in Paris at the airport, but yeah. She was outfitted by Valentino in a very eye-catching lace bodysuit. She had this really unique and kind of off-putting peak lapel cropped blazer and a do-rag that flowed down her back into a long train. There are a couple things that I think don't work for this look. The first is the color, which is this very blood-like red, almost vampire vibe. And the second is this bodysuit element. One of the main tenets of dandyism is respectability, and while a lace bodysuit is eye-appealing, I think it lacks the necessary refinement to embody black dandyism for this event, for this moment at the Met Gala. And that's why I put it on this worst list. The same can be said for Kylie Jenner's look. From the standpoint of the outfit as a whole, Kylie looks phenomenal, and I think there's little to no argument about that. But when I size up her outfit to the theme of this year's Met Gala, it falls a bit short. I actually preferred it with the sleeve scarf that she was wearing initially. With it off, it focused more on being super fine as opposed to being super fine tailoring black style. Another disappointing look for me from the evening was Future. Future is someone that both myself and Lauren love to listen to, so we were really excited to see what he was going to bring to the Met Gala. But I think for this look, he played it a bit too safe. I love this outfit for a random Thursday night event in LA, but for the Met Gala, I want something a little bit more fun. Maybe that isn't his personality. I will say that his hair did look very cool, so maybe everything was like focused towards his hair and not the outfit, maybe. But regardless, Future, I need you to crank it up a couple notches. That's my opinion, you. Still love your music, okay? I hate to talk negatively about a legend, but Spike Lee's outfit, his look, just didn't cut it for me. Spike Lee is someone who is iconic to the black community, that you almost always like want to root for him. That's how iconic he is. But dandyism, I just don't see dandyism in this look on this stage. I see going to the Knicks game as the focus of this look, which I get it. You know, the Knicks are doing well. They beat the Celtics the other night. The Knicks are up, man. The city is kind of buzzing with the Knicks, and Spike Lee's, he's a Knicks fan, iconic, but it's the Met Gala. Like, I want to see some dandyism. I want to see some super fine tailoring black style. I will say it was cool to see Spike wearing Jordans. Did anyone else wear Jordans? I'm not sure. Can someone check on that for me? A lot of people liked Jenna Ortega's look, but for me, there's something about it that missed the mark. The look was entirely made out of rulers, which in theory would be a really cool way to pay homage to tailoring. This idea that you have to measure every little detail down to the centimeter or inch. But in practice, the outfit looked like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. It felt more costume than it felt like wow at the Met Gala. It felt more like a joke, even though I know it wasn't a joke. It felt more like a joke than like wow, this is something that's really captivating me right now. A+ for creativity, but I think from an execution standpoint, it just falls a little short, a little bit too short. There are some other people that maybe I could have added, but I think this one is an interesting example of like, you have some of the elements, but not all of the elements, and therefore I'm putting it on the worst list. Might be pretty harsh, but don't shoot the messenger. Speaking of one that might cause a bit of a ruckus, Bad Bunny. Let's talk about Bad Bunny. To me, Bad Bunny's look was a bit boring, and I'll tell you why, and I'll kind of run through all the pieces that caught my eye initially on the live stream for this outfit. You have the double-breasted notch lapel top, which was clean. The tie, I love the way that he tied it with that thick tie on top. That was really cool. I love the hat, but the gloves felt like, well, okay, like they were scrambling and they're thinking like, okay, this outfit looks fine, but how do we add more pizzazz to it? And overall, everything just feels safe. It felt safe. I know a lot of people love the hat. I think the hat is really, really cool, but I don't think one hat saves the entire outfit, right? I thought the colors were simple. I thought the textures were simple. And then you have this hat that's cool. And then you have these gloves that just don't make sense. That was kind of my interpretation of Bad Bunny's look. To me, it felt more like a mob boss than a black dandy. It didn't give Harlem. It didn't give modern dandyism. It felt like, 1977 mob boss with the bag that he had too. Not a bad outfit by any means. Just we're talking about the best of the best and trying to like knock down the best of the best. It's still fantastic looking, but I feel like it falls a little bit short, kind of like Jenna Ortega's, from the conceptualized vision I have of black dandyism and superfine tailoring. You can come for me if you want to. There were two icons of the Met Gala that came with two of the most lackluster looks of the entire evening. Anna Wintour and Hathaway. Man, I was hoping for more. Nothing about Anne Hathaway's outfit felt on theme. Not the hair, not the shirt top, not the skirt. What about any of it fits super fine tailoring black style? If you have an answer for me, let me know. I would love to hear what you think. The same can be said for Anna Wintour. It's almost like neither of them really tried to embody the ethos of black dandyism or of black tailoring. It felt like they were there, they're always gonna be there. For us, we're not gonna try, and this is what you get. You might be like, damn, Drew, you're really drilling a lot of people who are legends here, but I think everything will become more clear once you see the best list as well. Because when you compare the best outfits to the worst outfits, the separation actually is a pretty wide gap between who got it and who didn't get it. And I think the people on the worst list, there's some ones who kind of almost got it, but Anna and Anne, they were like, it just didn't feel like they really wanted to try to the levels that they could have tried. A star who surprised me was Walton Goggins. At first, I thought his look was one of my favorites, but then I realized that there was a lot of randomness going on. The colors and overall theme were present, but the crotch, the skirt, the frilled line work, it kind of all felt random. Which, if something feels random, I think that's the opposite of tailoring. It's the opposite of dandyism. A dandy is an individual, and if you want to learn more about dandyism, I made an entire video about this just last week about, what is black dandyism, what is dandyism. But a dandy is someone who is of the utmost refinement. They know exactly what they're doing. They add the exact details to the exact amount on their outfit, and there's a purpose behind it. It's not random. It's very precise, and it can come off as flamboyant. It can come off as creative, but it's never random. It's very intentional. And the fact that this felt random, to me, rang alarm bells in my head and said, okay, this is something that is maybe not as good as what I thought. I hate to do it, but the last of the worst, I hate to do it, is Emma Chamberlain. Now, Emma is someone that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. She has climbed the ranks of being someone who started on YouTube. I love YouTube. I love YouTube more than any other platform. Has gone from YouTube to traditional media to celebrity status. And it's incredible to see her journey. She looked incredible, don't get it twisted. But the outfit is so Emma Chamberlain, like really stylized Emma Chamberlain, but I just didn't see super fine tailoring black style. A comment Lauren made when we saw Emma during the live stream and we looked her up afterwards is that she said that she looks hot. She looks super cool, like a ninja or something like that, not a dandy. And I kind of agree with that. The creativity is top notch, but the glasses, the silhouette shape, the attitude didn't feel dandy. Whew, we made it through. I know that was a tough one. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my selection for the 10 worst looks at the Met Gala. I know that there are others that I could have included. I have a list of about 25 people, so if you want to see a part 2, comment part 2. I didn't want to make this video too long, so I stuck with some heavy hitters for this. Let's move on to the 10 best looks from the Met Gala. Arguably the best look of the entire evening went to Teyana Taylor. And while I didn't necessarily love her interview style, I feel like watching the interviews, I was just watching so I could see her outfit again. Her interpretation of dandyism, and Harlem Renaissance dandyism at that, was masterful. The hat, the vest, the little lapel chains tied together with the do-rag. She looked like a character out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I love that. And she wasn't the only individual that night who mentioned JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I love that, that's even in the thought bubble of the Met Gala this year. It feels very apropos. Zendaya and Anna Sawai absolutely killed the red carpet with their looks. I lumped these two together. You see what I did there? I lumped these two together because if you know, basically these two had the same outfit. The subtle nods to the exhibition for me is what took both of these outfits to the next level. Disguise was one of the main tenets, one of the main themes of this Met Gala fundraising exhibition, and the subtle stoop of the hat to cover the eye is such a great way to represent disguise. I also think it's powerful and beautiful to see two women in suits, and the fact that they were pearled suits made it that much more dignified and royal to me. Who did it better, Zendaya or Anna Sawai? I know a lot of people are talking about Zendaya because she has this presence about her, but it's interesting. Two people wearing the same thing, why does one person get more attention or get more love than the other person? These are both two mega stars. Maybe Zendaya is just the bigger star, but you let me know down in the comments. Nobody, and I do mean nobody, commanded the stage more captivatingly than Damson Idris in his rip-away suit. At first, I personally thought, I was like, yo, this is kind of corny. But then I watched it again, I was like, no, this is actually really cool, and I love the way he owned it and brought stage presence, brought drama, and brought storytelling to the Met. You have to remember, dandyism is about showmanship, and I think that Damson was the best showman at the Met Gala. His look told a story, and that story coincided with the theme, and I think that is fire. You know who killed it? Lana Del Rey killed it. Not everyone can pull this off, but Lana Del Rey made this look feel very dandy, very timeless, and very her all in one. The hair and the bow feather is what set this look off for me. It's those little details, those little accents. You can have one piece, you can have a crazy silhouette, you can have crazy accessories. You add hair, you add feathers, you add presence, and all of a sudden, no one can take their eyes off of you. And it was really well done by Lana Del Rey. Where Walton Goggins felt random, Tramell Tillman felt as sharp as a tack. Pinstripes were quite overused at this year's Met Gala, but Tramell's interpretation of the pinstripe ball suit was divine. The use of ballet flats, the flowers, this one felt indubitably delightful. Kier would be proud. There were few people, if any, that looked better than Lupita Nyong'o at this year's Met Gala. She wore head to toe Chanel, and the color of the suit would have been dandy enough, but then you add the matching flowers on the lapel, the star centerpiece on the collar, the sheer cape. The cape, I know some people love or hate a cape. The cape works so well here because it's an element to the whole outfit, right? I want to watch a Met Gala where people are wearing capes, they're wearing over-exaggerated shoulders, they're wearing things that you just don't see anywhere else because this isn't, day-to-day fashion. This is the event of all events for fashion, one of them, right? So a cape represents that magnitude. It represents the esoteric nature of this moment. Too often we see capes or trains that just kind of take over the entire outfit. But in this instance, because it was sheer, it's an element within. It's not something that overpowers, and I like that. In fact, I love that. Damn, was this my favorite look? I don't know. I think this is like, between this one and Teyana Taylor, like, whew, this is good. This is really good. Chanel also outfitted Jennie from Blackpink, and wow, what a duo were these two from Chanel. The thing that was impressive about Chanel's looks is that Chanel did what other houses, Valentino, failed to do, which was mix Jennie's aesthetic with the black dandy theme while also making everything feel very Chanel as well. It's incredible and unfortunate how well Jennie danced and how she kind of outshined the other members of her same group. Lisa, for example, she's getting a lot of backlash online because of the placement of Rosa Parks on her outfit or on her look. And there was just a lot of conversation. I could talk entirely about the pantslessness of the Met Gala. I think the only person who, well, not the only person, someone who maybe pulled it off better was Sabrina Carpenter, but maybe we save this conversation for another video. But Jennie, props to you. Great look. I guarantee most people won't agree with me on this, but I would say Patrick Schwarzenegger was one of the better dressed men of the evening, and that's why I put him on this list. Yes, there was Pharrell, he's an icon. Yes, there are others who are more iconic, who deserve to be mentioned, but I feel like that's kind of boring in my opinion. I want to talk about someone who I wouldn't have anticipated to do well for this, but actually surprised me and did much better than a lot of people who, maybe could have culturally understood black dandyism better. My favorite elements were the clutch. I love the clutch. It was a nice touch. The yellow, beautifully textured undershirt stood out to me, and I love the shape of his suit pants. You usually don't see wide-fitting pants, and while like Gen Z and Gen Alpha tend to like wide-fitting things from a day-to-day standpoint, most things were tailored. Most things weren't wide and flowy for menswear. They were cut down, right? So seeing an example of that done well, Patrick, good job, man. It's pretty unanimous that Doechii's outfit was one of the best outfits of the Met Gala. Doechii is rap's current and most noteworthy female dandy. And I think why she did so well is also why she is a rising star in pop culture. Her afro felt iconic, but in a new and fresh way. The shorts call to current short length trends, and the fact that she added a cigar to the look makes everything feel that much more thought out. Damn, maybe hers was the best look. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know where I land, if it's Lupita, if it's Teyana Taylor, if it's Doechii. Where are you guys landing at? This is like, I had to make a top 10 list. That's why I had to do this. I could probably make a top 25 list. 300 looks, remember that, 300, crazy. Last for the best, and this one was like, I honestly could have put like 15 names here, but I'm gonna go with Iman Hammam. When I Google cool, this image of Iman Hammam comes up. When I Google cosmopolitanism, this image of Iman Hammam comes up. When I Google Met Gala 2025, this image of Iman Hammam comes up. I mean, not really. When you Google it, probably Kim Kardashian or something like that comes up. But in my head, Iman Hammam comes up. Why? It's all about the details. From the waist cinch in the suit top to the tabbies, it's a blend of old and new and beauty that creates such a unique look I can't help but admire. Wow, we did it. We actually did it. Those are my best and worst looks from the Met Gala for the year 2025. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my selections. Maybe you have some other opinions. Maybe you have some additional people that you would have added to the list. If we should continue this conversation, let me know in the comments by commenting part 2, and I'll do a part 2. Let's get a word in for today's sponsor, Squarespace. Are you interested in making your very own website for a brand or creative project? Squarespace offers a comprehensive amount of features to help you create the website that you've always wanted. If you want to sell your products direct to consumer, or if you want to showcase your body of work,
Squarespace makes it easy to do that and more. Currently, I'm using my Squarespace website as a hub for all of my content and as a way to direct those interested to my podcast and social media. If you need a design to help nudge you into creating your first website, this is your sign. Visit squarespace.com/DrewJoyner for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
As always, I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity in 2025. So that means I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity to you and whoever who is alive. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful rest of your day. Abianto. Peace. Yo, what is good, post Vivid? Hopefully you're having a good day today. Hear the fist bump for the one time. Bah! Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. Here's a second fist bump. Bah! Thank you so much. It means the most. I was going to do honorable mentions at the end of the video, but I think the honorable mentions that I'll have, because I have a list here. Let me get this list up. Hashtag PVV when you answer. What were the PVV's favorite or least favorite looks from the Met Gala? 3 looks that were just like, you have to talk about these if you make a video about the Met Gala. I think you talk about Sabrina Carpenter and her Louis Vuitton look. It was also a look that I felt was just right at the edge of being there for me, I guess. The pantslessness, I feel like if she was wearing pants, it would have gone so much harder. I know she's shorter, so maybe they want to elongate her legs. But yeah, Andre 3000, the piano, I saw that and I was like, you gotta have someone's gotta do something crazy. And then I also wrote down Janelle Monáe. I thought that that was a very interesting look as well. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have the image, I just have the name. And I can't remember exactly, but regardless, should I do a part 2? Is this enough? Will people care enough to watch this? Find out in a couple of weeks. Find out next time on Drew Joyner, the channel. All right, guys. See you guys when I see you. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys immensely. Thank you for all the comments and support. It means the most. Let's get on to the next video. Peace.